The Galactic Cultural Exchange Festival on Prime 7 was the largest interspecies gathering in the quadrant. A month-long spectacle of art, music, dance, cuisine, and carefully choreographed displays of cultural pride. Species from 300 worlds competed for attention in vast amphitheaters, holographic galleries, and floating performance platforms. The goal was simple: impress, educate, and subtly assert superiority without starting a war. The Night Prowl delegation arrived on the 23rd day. They were tall, lean bipeds with midnight black fur that drank light, slit-pupiled eyes that reflected no glow, and movements so silent that even their footsteps were rumor. Nocturnal apex predators from the dim world of Umbraxis. They valued precision, control, and deadly seriousness. Their culture revered the perfect hunt, the flawless stalk, the moment when fear became certainty. Laughter was rare. Public displays of vulnerability were taboo. Their juveniles were raised to mirror these ideals from the moment they opened their eyes. This year, the Night Prowl had chosen to present their traditional dance of the silent kill. 8 juveniles, cubs on the cusp of their first hunt, would perform a synchronized sequence of predatory gestures. The crouch, the freeze, the explosive leap, the throat strike mime. It was meant to be mesmerizing, terrifying, beautiful. The elders believed it would remind the galaxy why the Night Prowl were feared even in daylight. The performance began at dusk in the Grand Nebula Amphitheater. 10,000 beings filled the seats. Spotlights dimmed to starlight levels. A low, thrumming bass note, meant to mimic a distant heartbeat, rolled through the air. The 8 cubs emerged from shadow pockets, fur blending with the dark until only their eyes glowed like violet coals. They moved perfectly. Crouch, freeze, creep, coil, leap. The audience held its breath. Then the youngest cub, a slender female with a single silver streak across her muzzle, misjudged her timing by half a second. Her leap landed a fraction too early. She collided shoulder first with the cub beside her. Both stumbled. A third, trying to recover the formation, overcorrected and clipped a fourth. In under 3 heartbeats, the flawless formation dissolved into awkward scrambling, tails lashing, ears pinned in mortification. The music continued, oblivious. The cubs froze in place, 8 statues of shame under the merciless lights. The audience shifted uncomfortably. A few species tittered nervously. The Night Prowl elders in the VIP boxes went rigid, faces unreadable but tails stiff with humiliation. Backstage, the human contingent watched on monitors. Riley Voss, 31, former stand-up comic turned cultural liaison, currently listed in the program as human performance consultant, saw the disaster unfolding and felt a familiar adrenaline spike. She turned to the Night Prowl liaison, Elder Vren. "They're kids," she said quietly. "They froze because they're terrified of disappointing everyone. Let me go out there." Vren's eyes narrowed. "You would interrupt a sacred rite?" "I would save it," Riley answered. "Trust me for 90 seconds. If it goes wrong, blame the human. We're used to it." Vren stared at her for a long beat. Then he gave the smallest possible nod. Riley grabbed a handheld microphone from the tech station, clipped a lapel translator to her collar, and walked onto the stage. The spotlights found her instantly. A lone human in casual expedition clothes, cargo pants, faded band t-shirt, sneakers, standing in the middle of 8 mortified apex predators. The music cut abruptly as the sound engineer realized something unplanned was happening. Riley raised the mic. "Hey," she said, voice warm and conversational. "First rule of live performance. If you mess up, own it. Second rule, make it funnier than it was supposed to be." She looked at the cubs, who were still frozen in various stages of cringe. "You guys just did the galaxy's most expensive blooper reel. Congratulations. You're trending on at least 17 networks already." A few audience members chuckled uncertainly. Riley paced a slow circle around the cubs. "Let me tell you about Earth predators. We've got lions, big, majestic, terrifying. Except when they're cubs. Then they trip over their own paws, fall into watering holes, and once in a while one tries to pounce on a butterfly and faceplants into mud. And the adults? They just watch. Because falling down is how you learn to get up. She stopped in front of the silver-streaked cub, who was visibly trembling. You, Riley said gently, just invented something new. You invented the stumble leap. It's avant-garde. Very now. The cub blinked. Riley clicked her tongue. Okay, new plan. We're going to do the dance of the silent kill. But with commentary. Like a nature documentary narrated by someone who's had too much coffee. She turned to the audience. Watch closely. This is professional wildlife commentary. She pointed at the nearest cub. Here we see the majestic night prowl juvenile demonstrating the classic, oops I didn't see that t'other cub maneuver. Note the perfect follow-through into an unplanned shoulder check. Textbook. Soft laughter rippled through the stands. Riley kept going, voice rising with mock-serious enthusiasm. And now, behold, the rare triple cascade fail. One mistake propagates through the pack like dominoes designed by a sadist. Poetry in motion. Or chaos. Same thing. More laughter, louder this time. The cubs began to relax. Ears lifted slightly. Tails twitched. Riley dropped to a crouch, mimicking their earlier stance. Okay, let's try again. But this time, if anyone messes up, we lean into it. We commit to the bit. Deal? The Silver Streak cub gave the smallest nod. Riley stood. Music, restart from the top. And keep the bass. We need drama. The thrumming heartbeat returned. The cubs reset, shakier, but determined. Riley narrated. Crouch, perfect. Freeze, menacing. Creep, stealthy. Coil, tense. And leap. The Silver Streak cub jumped. She landed early again. This time she didn't freeze. She rolled with it. Turned the stumble into an exaggerated somersault. Came up on all fours with paws spread wide. And let out a tiny, theatrical growl. The audience roared. Riley whooped. Yes, that's the spirit. Call that move the tumble pounce surprise attack. Deadly and adorable. Patent pending. The other cubs caught on. One faked a dramatic slip, slid across the stage on his belly, then sprang up snarling. Another pretended his tail had a mind of its own, lashing wildly, forcing him into comical spins. A third accidentally bumped into Riley, who staggered theatrically, mic still raised. Whoa! Friendly fire. I'm being hunted by my own interns. Laughter rolled like thunder. The cubs fed off it. Their movements grew looser, bolder. What began as recovery became reinvention. The dance of the silent kill transformed into the dance of the gloriously imperfect hunt. Every near miss became a feature. Every stumble earned applause. When the final kill pose landed, 8 cubs in a triumphant semicircle, one still comically tangled in his own tail, the amphitheater erupted. Standing ovation. Whistles. Cheers in a dozen languages. Riley bowed deeply to the cubs, then to the audience. Thank you, thank you. Give it up for the night prowl juveniles, the only predators in the galaxy who can make failing look cool. Backstage, Elder Vren waited. The cubs swarmed Riley, nuzzling her arms, rumbling in what passed for night prowl giggles. Vren's voice is quiet. You turned shame into celebration. Riley shrugged. Kids mess up. Adults who can't laugh at it make them afraid to try. I just gave them permission to be kids for 5 minutes. Vren looked at the Silver Streak cub, who was now play wrestling with another while still wearing the stage lights like a crown. We teach them perfection, he said slowly. You taught them resilience. Riley met his gaze. Perfection's boring. Resilience is sexy, and funny, and human. Word of the performance spread like plasma fire. Clips went viral across every network. Human saves night prowl kids from embarrassment with stand-up routine, trended for weeks. Memes proliferated. Cubs in cartoon thought bubbles saying, commit to the bit. Requests poured in. Night prowl elders asked quietly, formally, if human storytellers could visit Umbraxis to teach this humor thing to their juvenile dens. Other species followed. Within a year, Riley's rules became unofficial doctrine in multi-species youth programs. If you fall, make it part of the show. Laugh louder than the mistake. The best hunters don't fear looking ridiculous. They fear being boring. On quiet nights in the embassy on Prime 7, Riley would sometimes receive encrypted messages from Silverstreak, now named Lyra by her pride, full of awkward attempts at human-style jokes. Did you hear about the night prowl who tried to stalk a photon? He couldn't catch it too fast, but he did get a really good tan. Riley would laugh until tears came, because the galaxy was slowly learning what humans had known for millennia. The sharpest claw isn't steel or bone. It's the one that tickles the funny bone of a terrified heart until it remembers how to breathe again. And when apex predators discover they can laugh at themselves, that's when empires tremble. Not from fear, from delight.